I want to let you know that I am so excited you are listening to this show. This show, I'm gonna get in the episode here in a second, but I just want to give a little bit of a caveat about what the show is really about. This show is not just a business podcast. This show is not just for people who are athletes or people who are doing this or doing that. This is a self-development slash winning slash whatever you want to call it podcast. But this show is dedicated for anybody who is on some sort of goal progression, right? If you have a long-term vision, you're trying to see it through, you want a transformation journey, right? Like you are trying to turn your life a complete 180. This show is for you. If you are someone who's starting a business, this show is for you. If you're someone who is in pursuit of an athletic career, this is for you. If you are somebody in a leadership position, this show is for you. See, if you're listening to the show already, you are somebody who is looking for self-improvement and you understand you have potential. And I believe everybody listening to this show has potential for some sort of greatness. I don't get 320 million. There's 330 million Americans. I don't get 330 million views on this podcast or listens on this podcast. Not everybody's meant to listen to this podcast. But I believe if you're listening, you recognize, if you're listening right now, you recognize that you have a great potential and you're trying to fulfill it. Whether you're trying to turn your life around, whether you're in the midst of a long journey, whether you're in the midst of some sort of long pursuit. Like I said a second ago, business, athletics, coaching, leadership, entrepreneurship, whatever it is, career development, you're in the right place because you recognize that you are destined for greatness and you need something more. And this show, I have it here for free, right? So by the way, if you're listening, please hit the follow up. I didn't know until the other day that you got to hit the little bell. Okay, I have about 50 something followers just on the Spotify, over 1,000 on the Instagram. You got to hit the little bell button so you know that a new episode is posted. So hit that little bell, rate 5 stars. I'm super satisfied with the reviews we're getting, and I really appreciate everybody who drops a review, shares it on Instagram, shares it on Facebook. Just copy the link, share it with people, because ultimately I do this show for free. It costs me a little bit of money to actually do the show. Okay, but I want it here for you to access for free. I don't put it behind a paywall. I don't put it behind Patreon. I don't put it on a subscription base. Oh, but if you do want to donate, by the way, you can. You can hit the link in this description, and you can choose to do a one-time donation or a monthly donation. But I don't put it behind a paywall because I want you to be able to take what you listen to in this episode or any episode and apply it to whatever you're going through in that moment, to give you some encouragement, to empower you to keep going, and ultimately to help give you some tools that you can start applying and seeing results immediately. Okay, that's my intro for this episode. Okay, so if you're listening, you are destined for greatness. I believe it. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about leadership and winning. Okay, and this, at some point in your journey of transformation of business, this will mostly talk to business people, but if you're in some sort of transformation journey in your life, you're going to be a parent, right? You're going to be a spouse. So this will apply to you. You just need to kind of apply it a different way. There's this weird thing about winning and success, okay? And they kind of go hand in hand, and sometimes they don't. But for the most part, when you win, you're successful. And it got me thinking about some leaders I know, some business situations that I know of, not necessarily business leaders as in like CEOs, but more of like mid-level leaders, right? Sometimes we feel like we need to be the one that wins for success, right? And on the come up, that's true. For athletes, you need to beat your peers. You need to win football games. You need to win basketball games. You need to win baseball games. For salespeople, you need to, sell more than other people, sell more than your peers, get recognized, to get moved up, to get it up in pay grade. When it comes down to people living life, sometimes they feel like they need to constantly do better than their neighbor, right? When it comes to raising kids, they feel like they got to make sure they put their kids in the best winning situation possible. And there's just a lot of weird I'm going somewhere, so just keep following. There's a lot of weird things we kind of get wrong as we progress when it comes to winning. Like, it's going to come to a point, especially if you're in business, especially if you're in athletics, where you can't do everything and be successful. Tom Brady on the football team is not out there going and returning kickoffs, right? He's got his role. He's a quarterback. Coach Bill Belichick isn't out there taking snaps under center because he's not a quarterback. He's a coach, right? Everybody has their role. And let's say if you were in leadership in a business or you own a company, let's say you're a sales manager or mid-level manager of some kind, higher up manager, chief, whatever, you need to understand that it's not about you winning all the time. Because what happens is we focus on ourselves winning and we leave everybody else in the dust, and then we have nothing to help us in the future, right? There's like this paradox that happens. If you are in charge of a team and you're the leader, you're the elected leader, you're the chosen leader, everybody looks up to you and they just says, hey, you are the boss, you are the leader. There comes a responsibility with that, and it's no longer about you. Okay? And if you're early on in your journey right now, whatever it is, just keep listening, because you are going to come to the point where you're going to remember this, and you need to remember this. When you're in a position of leadership, whether it's even just within your family as like a parent or a spouse, or maybe in my situation, there was a time where in my immediate family, between my brothers and my sisters, I became the person that was during a specific crisis I'm talking about. I became the person that was making decisions. And for that brief period of time, I was a leader, right? Anytime you're looked on to, you're in a leadership position, whether it's elected or implicit or explicit, whether people talk about it, whether people recognize it, whether you have a title, whether you don't have a title. Positions of leadership are often recognized, and we all know when we're in one. Or sometimes you might not recognize it, but you need to recognize when you're in one, first off. And when you're in that position, let's just say you are in business. This is just going to be an easy illustration. In business, you need to make sure you put your subordinates or your lower level people beneath you, or your team members, whatever you want to call it. In the military, I know subordinates is a really military word. I apologize. I am a Marine Corps veteran, if you do not know. So sometimes I use some really terms that are not used in the civilian world as much in the private sector. But I think private sector isn't really used much in civilian world, and I don't think civilians really say civilian world, but there you go. There's my military coming out. Hope you're having a laugh right now. Back to what I was saying. If you're in a position of leadership and you have team members below you, you need to make sure you're putting them in a position to win and not be selfish with your career. Because here's what's going to happen. If you're selfish about how your numbers look so you can get a promotion, or how you look compared to how the other teams around you are looking and to the other leaders, it might give you some short-term gains. It might give you some short-term glory, but in the long run, word's going to get out. Word's going to get out that you're not taking care of your employees, or your teammates, or your whatevers. Word's going to get out that people don't like working for you because you're selfish, and you won't have any support later on in your career or in your journey, whatever it may be. But here's the cool thing. If you put your teammates or your employees or anybody who's beneath you and set them up for success, and you focus on them, you focus on serving them, and you focus on pouring into them, and you focus on putting people in the right positions, whether it makes you look good or makes you look bad, just putting them in positions to be successful, and then they will in turn win, right? You see where I'm going with this? So if you focus on your lower level people winning, or the people around you winning, at the end of the day, it's going to prop you up and help you win more. I know that sounds like a really silly and simple concept, but a lot of people miss it, and I think you need to hear it. If you're in a position of leadership, you need to make sure that the people beneath you are in positions to win and give them tools and serve them and make sure you help equip them to do the best job they can possibly do, have the best outcome they can possibly have, and ultimately get them to be better people. And sometimes it's not going to look super flashy. Sometimes you're going to have to get your hands dirty. Sometimes you might have to do things that aren't necessarily on paper going to make you look immediately better than the next person. But ultimately, in the long run, you're going to have higher sustainable numbers, whether it's in sales, whether it's in product turnout, whether it's in number of services, what is it called? Number of services booked, whatever your business is, whether it's cutting costs. Like there's gonna be a lot of good things that happen because you're lower level, because your teammates, because your employees, because if you're whatever are in positions to win. Therefore, they're winning on their own. They learn more skills. And sure, they may get promoted, maybe parallel to you, but everybody's going to know that they were under you, right? Kind of like Coach Nick Saban from Alabama. Everybody knows Coach Nick Saban's like one of the best coaches ever. But so many of his subordinates, so many of his staff below him, they get promoted parallel to Coach Saban because they're also a head coach at another school, just simply because Coach Saban has mentored them up, has trained them up, and they know they're getting a solid product. And now Alabama, for the past number of years, has been just churning out head coaches, offensive coordinators, solid staff members, athletic trainers, NFL trainers, even down to the athletes, because they know, because they were under Nick Saban, they're getting quality product. And yeah, as far as college athletics goes, being a head football coach is kind of where all you can go. But think about how that can apply to you. Let's say you're a team leader, or let's say you're a manager, or let's just say you're a business owner. And instead of you focusing on yourself, getting everything you can out of your employees, just squeezing them out for every last thing you can get out of them, why don't you try pouring into them? Why don't you try mentoring them? Why don't you try getting them in positions to win? And when they get promoted, or when they go to another company and they do well, they all know that they all know they came from your umbrella, right? Let's say you are mid-level in a large corporation. Those higher level officers or those higher level managers, they're going to see, every time we pull somebody out of this department, every time we pull somebody that was underneath this person, they are successful everywhere they went. They're ready. They're better than everybody else we've ever had there. They make more money. They have the least cost. They are the most proficient. They are this. They are that. And they have nothing but good things to say about them. What does that say about you? It probably says all those things and more because you got them ready to do that. And ultimately, you will see the success in yourself. And also, go back, let's talk about what we started at the beginning about winning. If every individual underneath your umbrella is winning, that means you're going to be winning. Whether you're the one getting the glory for it or not, whether you're the one actually closing the sales or not, whether you're the one that actually rendered services rendered, or you're the one that delivers on the product, your team has more sales, whether you get the recognition for it or not. But everybody knows you're the leader, right? Like we just talked about. Implicitly, explicitly, with a title, without a title. So just kind of think about what we're talking about today and about helping empower, helping yourself by helping others, right? That's wow, that sounds really corny. I did not mean to say that out loud like that. That was really corny, but it works, okay? Pouring into your employees, pouring into other people, mentoring other people, or even if it's people that aren't necessarily affiliated with your business or with your journey. If you are somebody who's in fitness, right? Let's say you are on a fitness journey, right? You're losing a lot of weight, and somebody there's like weird gym culture sometimes where people can be intimidated by other people, or sometimes people don't want to like talk to other people. Some people can just be straight up assholes sometimes. I get it. I've been to the gym. I've been going to the gym for a long time. I know, I see it. Let's say you're far along in your fitness journey, and instead of seeing somebody else who just started, they're overweight, they're struggling at the gym, just have a conversation with them. Just ask them where they're from, why they're trying to get healthy, and then just be like, hey, listen, I see you're coming. Just keep going. And I give them some pointers, some tips, not, be courteous about it. Don't like interrupt them, but even just kind of like pour into somebody else that isn't necessarily affiliated with you. Does it cost you anything besides a little bit of time to go a little bit out of your way? You're already at the gym, to kind of give somebody some encouragement, to kind of give somebody some pointers at the gym? No. But I tell you what, it's a heck of a value for them, because if they've seen somebody who's 5 steps ahead of them, 10 steps ahead of them, 20 steps ahead of them in their fitness journey, somebody who's already lost some weight, somebody who started overweight, who maybe wasn't living a good life and now they are living a good life, they're going to the gym, and then you can just share a little bit of your story. Yeah, listen, hey, I've lost 50 pounds this year and I got a lot more to go on. I've been loving the journey. This is what I've been doing. That can bring so much value to that individual. So just think about those things and think about how you can pour out into other people. And for me, this shows one way I do it. You can go listen to one of the most popular episodes on this show is called "The Why for Your Why," and that's one way I pour out, is to have episodes like that. But then even within my business is pouring out in other people. But I sometimes go out of my way on my Instagram. Not out of my way, I'm on Instagram. So I sometimes, for free, just kind of help people, just message people and be like, hey, like they'll message me first, right? I don't like just cold DM people, be like, hey, listen, I see what you're going through. No, that's kind of fun. That's kind of weird. No, they'll message me, and they're not really looking to be coached, but they just kind of, hey, I like your post. I've been going through this, and like this post really helped me. And I go, cool, and I respond. You know what I mean? A lot of influencers don't respond. I'm not an influencer, but a lot of influencers don't respond. A lot of people on social media don't respond for whatever reason, and I think that's silly. I try to respond to every DM I can. I respond to every comment I can, unless they're spam or weird. Um, so just take the time to pour out into other people. Equip people around you to win, and it'll prop you up for winning and more success. Listen, I want to thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. This episode's going up a day late because my internet, like a day and a half late, because my internet was having issues. I had to have AT&T out here several times, but this show will be up. I appreciate you for listening, being patient with me. Also, if you like the show, make sure you share with people. Make sure you listen to other episodes, because there's a lot of different topics. I try to do a good job in the description. In the titles and the description of what the episode's about. So just scroll down through Spotify, listen to another episode, and if you want, you can copy this link and text it directly to somebody, like, hey, this is what I like about this episode. I just want to get more people involved with it. And if you did like the show, you can do the little poll that's on the bottom of on the Spotify. And if you want to message me directly, have any questions, comments, or concerns about the episode, DM me at Simple Disciplines on Instagram, and I'll message you back. Guaranteed. All right. I really appreciate you listening. Make sure that follow button, share with your friends, and see you next time. Peace.